Here's your tech news for today. We've got news on Samsung's 150 megapixel image sensor, absolute madness. Note 20 news, and also things don't seem to be going too well for OnePlus in Europe right now. This could be a foreshadowing of some future events for sure. Now some good news for Samsung, if you want to call it that. Bad news for a lot of other companies, and I'm sure for you guys too. There was news actually recently from the head of marketing for a smartphone company called Meizu, who are a Chinese smartphone company. They use a lot of very high-end components from Samsung and Qualcomm. Anyway, the marketing manager said that there would be no Snapdragon 865 Plus this year. So as we know, the new flagship Android chipset from Qualcomm usually ships in devices starting around February time each year. However, last year Qualcomm also released a Plus version of their flagship. Last year was the Snapdragon 855. This was because a lot of Chinese brands just wanted a Plus version, something different, something new, something better to put on the spec sheet to say that their new phones in the second half of the year were worth buying and had better performance than the ones that were released early on in the year. The Note series though didn't use any of those Plus versions. It used the Snapdragon 855, which is the same chipset that it used in the S10 series. And the reason for this really twofold. The first is that the Note series just came too early to be able to use it, and also Samsung just didn't really see the need to put a more expensive chipset in there anyway. Starting very late last year and early this year, all of the rumors were pointing towards the same thing happening this year, with the 865 getting a Plus version just like the 855 got a Plus version last year. Well, now, according to the head of marketing at Meizu, this is not happening. This looks to have been completely scrapped, and of course we can understand the reasons why. The smartphone market really has been completely decimated. People are holding off purchases. People are spending less on phones, and so the market demand for a Plus version of this chipset has obviously just fallen away, with the Chinese brands obviously deciding against it. So yes, it looks like the 865 has been scrapped and isn't coming, according to the head of marketing at Meizu. And we still have to confirm this report from other news sources, but I don't see any reason why he would say something as unequivocal as saying that it was definitely not coming. He would obviously know too. So let's keep an eye out to see what the news is on this, if it is going to come, if it is scrapped. But if it is scrapped, it means we won't be seeing any souped up versions of phones towards the end of the year. And I'm not sure what that means for discounts in the phones released early on in the year. Let's wait and see what it means for those other phones and the Note 20 series, which could be using a very good Snapdragon chipset, Exynos chipset, still in the Exynos markets, of course. Facebook has been very busy. They're launching 2 new chat services, one on the WhatsApp platform and one on the Facebook platform. The first addition is that WhatsApp is going to increase the amount of people that can use a group video or audio call simultaneously. Right now, 4 people can jump on together. In a very short amount of time, they're going to allow 8 people to join a call simultaneously, and this will keep all of WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption. Facebook is also launching something on the Facebook platform, the Messenger platform, called Messenger Rooms. So that service from Facebook will allow up to 50 people in a room. Importantly, you don't need a Facebook account to join the chat room. Just like Zoom can, you can actually send a link and someone can click on the link and then join the room. So yeah, this is Facebook's version of Zoom. Just like they copied the stories from Snapchat, they are just building their own version of Zoom because they have the biggest user base, and they'll probably crush Zoom and everyone will go over to Messenger Rooms. Really big story from OnePlus actually. Apparently they have laid off up to 80% of their staff. So essentially that means they're just shutting down operations in a few European countries, including the UK. The UK, France and Germany see the biggest reductions, but Denmark, Finland, Netherlands are seeing the same amount of staff, and actually Finland is now the new headquarters in Europe for OnePlus. OnePlus are moving the headquarters from London to Helsinki, and also apparently the global situation is apparently not the main reason for this restructuring. OnePlus have said that Europe is a key market for them, but honestly things aren't going the way that they thought they would, and they're having to change things a bit. So here's my take on the situation with OnePlus. They have moved and changed their brand absolutely from what they first came as, which was a flagship killer, using whatever flagship Android chipset it was and then putting together cheaper parts to give a lower price. Now the OnePlus 8 Pro, this is a fantastic phone, by the way. Like, it's an amazing phone, but it is incredibly expensive, and expensive Android phones do not sell in any big numbers. If you look at the statistics of smartphone sales, most smartphones above $700 are iPhones and not Android phones. The vast majority of those expensive phones are Samsung Galaxy phones like the S series and the Note series. Even those don't sell in any big numbers compared to the iPhone though. So OnePlus have on purpose made their product extremely niche. On top of that, OnePlus is only supported on contract in the UK at least by EE. And that means if you're on other networks like Vodafone and O2, you won't be able to get an on contract OnePlus 8 phone, which again just limits the market for the product. The type of people that buy these expensive phones are the type of people that have contracts and don't really see the need to change contract just to get some new player in the game. It's a lot easier for them to go with an iPhone or a Galaxy phone that they know very well. So a problem of OnePlus is making, unfortunately, they simply put themselves into a tiny market segment with almost no hope of selling a lot of units, and are obviously pulling out of those UK, France and Germany markets. We are going to see the OnePlus Z coming later this year, which should come with a lower price tag, so we'll have to see how the sales of that device will do. Quickly touching on Samsung's 150 megapixel image sensor, we saw this week Samsung put out a press release saying that they are working to achieve a 600 megapixel image sensor. But according to a very reliable Samsung leaker, Ice Universe, the 150 megapixel image sensor has been completed and will be coming into smartphones at the end of the year. They'll be giving it to Chinese brand Xiaomi first to launch in a phone of their choosing. This is the same as what happened last year. Xiaomi were first to use Samsung's new 108 megapixel image sensor. Samsung then changed it a bit and put it in the S20 series, but the 150 megapixel will be coming in a Xiaomi phone at the end of the year, and we would assume the S20 series would be using a version of that too. 108 isn't the end, 150 isn't the end. This will just keep going up, and we'll have to see where the megapixel race stops, if it ever does. That's it for your tech news today. Subscribe to the other channel for more content too, and I'll see you next time.